name is Colin Jung. I'm from Sunnyvale, California. I'm attending my first expo here in Reno, Nevada. I've done a display for the benefit of the bottle collecting public. It is a display of one style of insulators. They're referred to as ponies, and in our hobby referred to as consolidated design 102s. They're pony insulators. They were used for early telephone applications. And they're from one particular company. The name of the company is the California Glass Insulator Company, which later became the California Glass Works. They were in business in Long Beach, California. They were the first company to produce insulators in California after the period of the EC&Ms and the Cal Electric Works. Like I said, it was based in Long Beach, California, and they were only in business for 4 short years between 1912 and 1916. The business was destroyed by the January 1916 flood, which was due to heavy rains, which literally ran through the plant and the grounds, and they weren't doing so well in the first place, and it literally took them out of business. My display, what you're seeing right here, has, like I said, it's one style. Like most glass, you'll find that they didn't plan on any particular glass colors, but it really depended on the types of sands they were using, the cullet that they were using, and that pretty much created the range of colors of glass that you see in front of you. I've kind of arranged it by color type. On the top shelf, you have some, all the colors have a tendency to be on the really light pastel sides. The top shelf, you'll see what we refer to in our hobby as clear or probably off clear colors, some very light tints. And then off to the right of the first row, there's some much more difficult to obtain colors. There's a smoky straw, and on the far right-hand side are two yellow pony insulators. The middle shelf, just some oddball stuff. Junkin, what we refer to as Junkin glass. The one on the far left has a little piece of rock in it. The one next to it I just recently picked up has a little amber streak running through the dome. The other ones, the four or five in the center, are considered quite valuable in the hobby. Very hard to obtain, but those are multi-tone California insulators, what we refer to as two tones, but they can really have more than two colors in them. And then the ones on the far right of the second row are just a couple of the manufacturing defects. Insulators that for whatever reason were not annealed properly. Maybe they were just pulled out too soon when the glass was too soft, and which resulted in what we call leaners. And so they don't sit up straight up. But as long as they function, you got to remember that this is industrial glass. So as long as it performed the job that it should perform, they put it in service. Third row from the top, just the incredible range of purple shades that you would find with the California glass, ranging from very light purple tints to smoky purples to lilacs, straight purples, and some darker plum colors. As I said, the company was in business between 1912 and 1916, so they used manganese to decolor the glass. And as you know, with a lot of glass at that time, with the ultraviolet radiation, it does purple up the glass for a lot of the insulators that were manufactured by the company. And then the final row, shades of green and blue. Most of these that you find, I didn't talk a little bit about them, most of them that you find here are embossed CGICO, which stands for California Glass Insulator Company. There are other ones of this sort of telephone style that just have the words California on it, and those are only found in aqua and blue colors, and those are on the far right of the display on the bottom shelf. And then right below that is just a straw-colored one that is on a pin that was found in the basement of a commercial building. It's got a little sort of, the pin itself is kind of interesting. It's actually got a little locking mechanism on it, so you can't really remove the insulator from that pin without destroying it. Other parts of my exhibit, just for your education, at the very to the left, I've found some vintage photos of the California glass factory. The first one that is in your photo was actually from the Southern California Edison Company archives, now owned by the Huntington Library. It is of the plant itself, and they've got their the name of the company clearly emblazoned across the building itself. Was an early industrial area, Long Beach, not much out there. What's been very instructive is, the next photo, is that the photographer for Southern California Edison, he actually posed different styles of the insulators produced by this company back in 1912 on a barrel, and took a photo of it for educational purpose of whatever Southern California Edison wanted, because they were a customer of this glass insulator company. And we can, to this day, we can identify all the styles that are in the photograph. And in the back, you can see their storage yard where all the insulators that they're getting ready to ship, what they did back in those days, they were all packed in a barrel full of straw, and you'll see that a little later in the next photo as it's panned to the right. And then here's a photo of two gentlemen, two workers of the plant, and there's their insulator storage yard outside the plant itself. You can see the railroad tracks that are just off in the distance, a little side route coming over there just to serve the plant. And you can see all the glass out there in the sun, and there's a barrel in the back, and they're packing it up for shipment. And then the last photo is what happened in January 1916. This is actually, the photo is really more of what happened to the Anaheim Road when it was flooded by the heavy rains, destroyed the road. You can see the telephone poles teetering in the distance, but the plant itself is out in the background of the photo, and the river itself, overflowed its banks and literally ran through the factory itself, depositing 7 to 8 feet of sediment in the plant itself, essentially destroying the factory and the equipment in it. The last thing I just want to point out is that up on the very top of this display case, you're going to see this is some advertising of the time. Particular style I'm exhibiting, one of their ponies, but this is an advertisement from their sole West Coast distributor, which is the Pacific States Electric Company. We're a West Coast distributor of electrical supplies, and they distributed California insulators throughout only the Pacific states, and you can find these insulators still out there in your estate sales, your barns, maybe even some on lines throughout the states of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, sometimes in Arizona, and of course California. So when you're out there picking, keep me in mind, because they're still out there and they're sure fun to collect. Thank you very much.